Hey friends, it's Simon Hurley from INKLIPSE and welcome to another video. Now in today's video, I'm super excited to be adding another installment to my Maker Stencil line and sharing exactly the process of how to use the Window Maker Stencil. So you can always refer back to this video if you have this stencil to help you build along the layers. If you want to check out my other Maker stencils, be sure to click up there, and I have a whole playlist of videos sharing how to do my shell maker and flower maker and soon to be more maker stencils in the line. You guys seem to be really enjoying these as much as I do, so let's turn on my work surface and get right into it. So here is a look at the Window Maker stencil, and if we turn it around, we've now started including pictures on the back. We had done that with the shell maker as well, and it really helps out to make sure you know exactly what you're doing when you're layering these up. So if you're a little bit confused about some layers, this is going to really help you out. And this window kind of covers the front of an A2 size card, which is really awesome. So let's pull it out of the package here and we'll get right into it. And if you want to reference that picture on the back, you always can when you're working with the Maker stencil. Now I'm grabbing a piece of my stark white cardstock and we're going to use this on the station. I actually had to restart this video because I used tape instead of the station, so stick with this. It's going to help you save lots of time in the long run. So I'm going to start off with kind of the center of the window piece here, and we're going to line it up on the front and center of our card. The reason why I start with this is just because it's the center of everything, and you know this is going to be in the center of your card, so it lines up really nice and easily, but hey, you can start wherever you want to. So I'm going to go in here, and let's start off with a little bit of my lightest yellow color, which is Over the Moon. Now you could really go in with whatever you want. You could create a grass and a sky scene. You could also stamp like one of the Christmas trees from my Caroling Squad stamp set in here and create a beautiful Christmas scene. We really left it up to you. That's why I wanted to leave this blank. We didn't really create anything to it so that you can really keep it nice and simple like this if you want to make some of the little puppies peeking out of the window, or you can kind of create your own outdoor beautiful sunset scene or something like that. So we really kept it nice and simple. I'm going to go in next with my Guppy ink, which is a little bit darker than the Over the Moon. That's what I like about these Maker stencils, is you're really easily able to, on the same layer up colors and give it some variation with your blending, which is really awesome. Something that you're not able to do with stamp layering. All right, once I'm done with that layer, I can pull off the magnets here and we'll move on to the next layer. Now what's cool about this is with the Maker stencils, you don't really have to shift them or move them or anything. You really just have to keep them straight up and down and move on to your next layer. And here I'm going to go in with this top portion of the window, but you can really move on to whatever section you want to. Now what I like to say is you'll see this exactly covers up that yellow portion, and then you're going to do your blending. Now if it's covering up the last color that you did, that's a good sign that you fit it in the right place. So then I'm going to go in with my ink here and start ink blending. Now if you have any trouble with going over the edges or anything like that, you could always go in with some tape and mask off the edges to make sure you're not going to hit that. I just go in and I use my blending tool on a kind of a tilt here so that I know I'm not going to get into any sections that I don't want it to. I'm going to start off at the bottom with a little bit of a darker or a heavier hand to get a darker brown color, and then move up to the top and create a lighter wash. Now I'll move those magnets, and then we can go in, just move it a little bit upwards and create this little cross beam right here. Now I'm going to go in with a smaller blending tool for this. We actually have little detail blending tools, and these really help to get into those smaller little portions there. So I'm just going to go in here and start blending that same Gur color in there. Did I say woof earlier? I meant Gur, if I did. I'm going to just blend that in there, and you can see that's way easier to reach those smaller little sections just like that. So there's that top portion done. You can see I've gone over a little bit. Again, use your tape to mask things off, but I'll be covering that up anyway, so it doesn't really matter too much. Now I'm going to go to the bottom beams here, just because I'm going to use the same Gur color on that as well. So I'm just going to go in, and here I'm going to use my mini detail blending tools again to go in and blend. And how fitting. I think you can probably hear my dogs outside barking. This color was named after them, so a little homage to them, right? So then I'm going to go in, and again, a darker color around the edge and add a little bit of lighter color in the center. That's what I love so much about these Maker stencils, is you're allowed to add a little bit of variation even with just one layer, which is super nice. Then I'll go in with this next layer. Here I'm not even going to magnet this down because it's going to be so quick. I'm just going to go in here and fill in this little section. And finally, we have this last little layer down here to fill in. And again, just using that little detail blending tool, and I'm going to take a heavier hand around the edge and let the ink fade in to the center, but it really helps the look of the window come to life. So next I'm going to go in and do the little shutters here, and here I'm just going to place this right in. It fits perfectly in there until you mask off that little yellow portion, and then we can magnet it down and start our blending. Now here I'm going to go in with a little bit of Tropical Tango. You can go in with whatever color you want for this. I'm just going to go in and tap off some of the excess color onto the side to get a really light color for this first layer of the shutters, and you'll see why in just a second. So just add a light wash of that color down. Then we'll move off the magnets. I'm going to pull this to the side. We're going to do the top layer of the shutters now. So magnet it down. Then I'll add lots more ink onto there, and then you can quickly blend over top with a heavier hand and get lots of darker color onto there. So since these are translucent inks, each layer is going to layer up that color more to create a darker color. And this is the effect that you get out with. So literally one ink pad for that, which is so cool. I'm going to move it to the other side and do the exact same thing. So place both the magnets down, get a nice light wash of that color going there. And we can bring in the shutters and create the darker effect. So bring in some more Tropical Tango and add it on with a little bit of a heavier hand as well. If you get any excess ink where you don't want it, try using the Mono Sand Eraser, or I know there's also a detailer tool, and chances are these ink spots are so light it just removes that color really nice and easily to go back down to that white cardstock. So that is a really great tip if you do get just a little bit outside of the lines. Also, you could try using a little bit of purple tape to mask off any sections to make sure you don't do that, but the color removes nice and easily if it's light enough. And there, look at that awesome large window that you create. I love that it takes up a lot of that A2 size card, so it really creates a stunning focal point on there, and you don't have to do any coloring. It's just all ink blending, which I love so much. Now let's finish things off. We have a little flower holder, a flower pot, and some flowers up here, but I'm gonna finish this off with some of the brick wall. And you can see we only have a couple bricks here, but it creates a really cool pattern in the end. So let me show you how to use this. I'm just going to set it wherever I want on the card. Here, I'm not even gonna magnet it down. It's a really quick process. We're gonna go in with some Minty Fresh, which I call kind of my teal neutral color. So I'm just going to get a little tiny bit of that color onto there. And then you'll see that it's overlapping that section. I'm just gonna go in with my blending tool. I'm not even gonna go over that part, right? I'm leaving a little bit of halo. If you know me, you know that I don't do any masking. So I'm just going to lightly go around that edge. It kind of fades the bricks into nothing, which is really great. And then I'll continue that same thing. I'm not even dipping into my ink pad here, adding a little bit of color there. We'll add some bricks up here. And all you have to do is just add a couple here and there, and it's gonna make the pattern seem complete and seem like it's right at the side of a building there, which is so much fun. So there we have the brick pattern down there. Now let's bring it up here as well. Of course, you could use whatever color you want. I also like to cut out the window and do this portion on gray cardstock too. I think that looks really awesome for more of a tone on tone effect, but this is just a really cool way to fade out the bricks into the background. I love that it looks like a brick building now that we did this cool pattern, and I love that you don't have to do the whole thing like super repetitive. You just add them here and there and it looks super cool in the end. I love this one so much, and I love the versatility. Of course, you could do whatever you want inside of that window. You could change up the colors and create a really cool look. I also did a card where I cut this portion out and it created a little bit of a peekaboo card on the inside too, which is a super fun way to create an interactive card. Alright, now before I finish this video, I wanted to share another card and idea using the Window Maker stencil. So I've already blended the window, I just wanted to show another way to use the brick background. So I'm taking that brick, moving it, turning it, and flipping the stencil to complete the background. And I did this on a WENDY VECCHI Perfect Gray card base with some woof ink, which gives it more of a tone-on-tone look like I was talking about. And I cut the window out here just by fussy cutting it. Cutting the window out is super simple. I leave a little bit of a border and it's got really clean and simple edges, so it really is a quick cutout. So once I'm done with all of that, I'm going to make some puppies from the puppy pun stamp set. So these are going to peek out of the window so perfectly, and if you are a puppy lover, this set is for you or anybody who has dogs in your life. So I stamped down a couple of the little dogs that I had drawn, and I'm just going to watercolor them in. So I just smooshed some ink pads down onto my surface using a craft sheet, and then you can pick up the colors with a water brush and start watercoloring. I stamped these down in jet black archival, and I also paint them on just some watercolor cardstock from Ranger. I like it because it's nice and bright white and has a smooth surface to it. And here I just went in with Woof, Gur, and some of the other brighter colors for the collars too. And with each one of these, I watercolor a wash of color, and then I tend to dry the layers and then pick up more of that same color with a little bit less water to add some shadows to it and add a little bit of shading. There's really not a ton of method to my madness. I just kind of color them in how I feel like it. They don't have to be too detailed because we've got a whole rest of the card going on. But just adding a little bit of shading in there. And then of course, after I was done coloring, I had to take a picture and send it to my friend because the dog had looked like her dog. So I took a picture, and that's why it's great. You can color it to look like your recipient's dog, which I think is so adorable. So I've added those two little guys onto the window. I stamped down 2 pairs of paws, added everything together, and here is the final card. I just love how you can make the little puppy speaking out. That's just one example, but there's so many different ways you can use this window to make it so adorable. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and seeing exactly how to use the Window Maker stencil to create some really awesome cards. If you create any projects using my products, be sure to use the hashtag #SimonHurleyCreate on social media so I can see all of your awesome work. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a big thumbs up. Be sure to hit that subscribe button down below so you never miss another card making and crafting video like this one, and I'll see you guys very soon for another card making video. Have a great day. Bye!